Good morning and welcome to the video for Monday, June the 15th. This will be a video for upcoming third graders, and we'll talk about different multiplication strategies that we will use in third grade. There will be a follow-up to this that talks about how to model using some of these things that we're going to look at here in just a moment. But for the moment, what we start with is you are given a picture and you need to figure out how many equal groups we have, how many things are in each group, and then either apply a multiplication problem or a repeated addition problem to find the answer. So starting with this one here, we can go ahead and say that we would have three groups of three. And if I counted by threes using skip counting, which I'll talk about in just a moment, I would get 3, 6, 9, and a total of 12. For this one, I would have four groups of four, which would give me 16. Now, one of the nice things about this strategy is if you are just starting to work on your multiplication facts and you still aren't quite comfortable on doing skip counting, you can actually count the total number of objects that we have to find the answer. Which takes us to skip counting, which is the one that I advocate for the most. We use that with working with arrays. We will use it with the number line, which I'll go over in just a moment. And that's also a way to mentally review your multiplication facts. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, that kind of thing. So to complete this, I would continue counting by 2. So 6 plus 2 would give me 8, then 10, then 12. And most people, by the time they get to third grade, can already count by fives very comfortably. So this one usually ends up being a really easy one for all of my students. So 20, 25, 30. We can use either direction to count, but because we only have three addition parts that we're going to add together, we would say that we would be going this direction. So we count 4 objects in the top row, plus 4 objects in the center row, plus 4 objects in the bottom row would give us 12. And same thing here. We could count by 2s going this way, but for our repeated addition sentence, we would have 5 plus 5 equals 10. Which takes us to the last thing I'm going to go over for today, which is using a number line. So one of the things I notice people maybe make a mistake on with this is drawing the correct number of groups. So when we're using a number line, we would start with 0. And if we're making groups of 4, we're going to go from 0 to 4. Then we're going to count up another 4 and then put our next spot. And we are going to do that 6 times. So here would be my first skip. Here would be my second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. The book does sometimes tell you to put an additional number up here and then you can kind of count that. I don't always require that. It just depends on what the task is. And then if we're going to do 7 groups of 3, we can do something that would look like this. And while I'm drawing this, the thing that I normally see is they'll accidentally give the other multiplication fact. So instead of doing 7 groups of 3, they might do 3 groups of 7, because you can get to the same answer by doing 3 groups of 7 as you would get for 7 groups of 3. So just understanding what they want the picture to work out as. You can get are doing it a slightly different way because we can flip the order of the numbers that we use in our multiplication problem and change the way that we represent the picture and still get the same answers. So what I'm going to do is recommend that my students work on this idea of practicing skip counting. Skip counting is going to give us a lot of what we need for kind of the repetition and practice that will help translate into having memorized multiplication facts. And the sooner we have those memorized, the easier all of the things that we'll be talking about, including why things work the way they work, can be the focus instead of just trying to get down the rote memorization. So I will do a follow-up video on Thursday that will talk about how we can model multiplication using pictures, actually creating the pictures, creating the array strategies that we would use for that, as well as looking at a bar model, because that will be one other thing that they will ask us to do throughout our Go Math book, as well as state test prep. So that concludes everything I want to work on. So what I would recommend is choose a number, and we're going from 1 to 12 times 12. So what I would normally recommend is for my students, if you haven't gotten comfortable working with counting by threes and being able to do that quickly until you get up to 12 times 3, which is 36, or sorry, 3 times 12, which is 36, and start with that. And then as you get more comfortable with that, then the next step I would ask you to do is have somebody ask you, what is, let's say, 7 times 3 or 3 times 7? And so then you would have to count up that number of groups of 3 to figure out what we would have for our product or our answer. So that would be what I would recommend to start with. There are some more advanced things that you can do with that as well as you get more comfortable with things. So hope this helps. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be on Thursday. Hope you're having a wonderful summer break, and I look forward to seeing you soon.